Good evening and welcome. My name is Michele and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stamping Up here in New South Wales, Australia. Now, if this is your first time joining us tonight, please say hello and let us know where you're visiting from. It's great welcoming new people to this event. We're going to play with Latte Love tonight and the corresponding designer series paper, which is these papers here. Now I'm sort of getting a little bit, not as much of it as I used to, but you have this lovely stripe. You've got the one with the coffee splatters on it. You've got the hearts, lovely swirls there. You've got coffee cups, coffee beans, and the Calypso coral with this lovely swirl on the back. You have this plaid here. Hello, Glenda. How are you? Welcome. So they're just some of the papers. Now, you will find these papers in the online exclusive in my shop. So if you go looking for them, that's where you'll find them. They're not in the catalogue. So we're going to do a reasonably quick card tonight, I think, just for the fact that it is quite a cool evening here in the Southern Highlands. So the sooner I can get back out into the nice warm room, the better, because I have been not well over this last week with a very bad head cold. But anyway, let's get started. Using the Latte Love, not using much of the stamps in this. I'm only going to be using one of the sentiments. But we're going to be using a few of the dies. I've already done a lot of the die cutting a little bit earlier for us, so just to help us along. But it is also Template Tuesday. So this is a template I've decided to work from tonight. So, this is just one I've picked up off Pinterest. It's got a few elements in it, a couple of circles, but I will only be using the one larger circle. It's got a couple of layers in there and some tags in there as well. So I'm going to see if we can recreate this card here. The dies I'm going to be using are the dies from the Latte Love, but I'm also using some of the dies from the Stylish Shapes dies. So I've got here one of the circle dies. I've got two of the banner dies, which we're going to be using. Now I've already have cut some of these out, and they're the two dies from the Latte Love bundle, which we'll be using as well. So let me just grab all our papers and I can show you what I have got here. Okay, so we're going to have a card base in the Lost Lagoon, and that measures 10.5 by 29.9, and I've scored that at, trying to think, what have I scored it at? 14.9. Hello, Joan. How are you? Thank you for joining us. I'm going to use a little bit of Calypso coral in my matte by 14.4. I'm going to use a piece of designer series paper, and that piece is 9.7. I've also got another piece of basic white for my card insert. I have got some strips of designer series paper there. I've got 3 of them just to decorate the inside of my card. Okay, so on the front of my card, I've already, as I said before, already die cut my circle, and the piece of cardstock, I've die cut that in white, in basic white, and my cardstock was 9 by 10. So this circle is just a little bit narrower than 9. Oh, let me just work it out. It's probably 7.7, something like that, which is the diameter of that piece. I've got a piece of series paper here, which I have cut to 6.4, which is going to give us this piece behind our and then, as I said, I've already cut out of some basic black. I've already cut out our coffee pot, and I'm using the new basic beige for the inside. Now, normally I would have used vellum. I had a piece underneath that so you could see like the coffee through it, but this time I'm doing my pot in the basic beige. I've got a little piece. I've added these dies here. I've cut a piece here with the Calypso coral with the coffee beans on it. I've got another piece here to do my sentiment and to cut out my other banner. So let's put this card together. It's not going to take us too long tonight because I have done all the pre-cutting. Excuse me. Struggling this week with this dreaded lurgy that I've managed to pick up from somewhere. So it's nice and quick tonight. Now you piece before you die cut it. You could have adhesive sheets on the back of the, and then die cut this out. I've left over from a class I did a month or so ago, so this one doesn't have any adhesive sheet on there, so we're just going to have to glue that down. So we might just start by actually putting our coffee. So I'll just pop these pieces here to one side, and I'll pop that to one side. And let's grab some glue. Got a new one here since I've been struggling with some of my other ones with almost running out. So I thought today we'll start with a new lot of glue. So I'm only going to, when I put this down onto here, the only places I really want to put the glue is probably on the back of this bar here and this bar here. I really don't want too much more glue than that because you don't want, number one, you don't want glue oozing out everywhere. There's lots of little fine pieces. You could add a bit more glue if you wanted to on these two bars going up and down here and maybe on this little one, but I would probably tend to leave the legs. Definitely because I'm going to set this up on dimensionals, I will pop a dimension that will help hold that down. So let's just glue this to start with. So I'm just going to place my glue these lines, and I'm just going to do a very fine layer because we don't, a very thin line of glue. We don't need too much because we don't want it, there's a slit there and we just really don't want that glue coming out. Now I might just put a couple little spots of glue down here, just a couple little dots and maybe just one on there. Really don't need much at all. Okay, so let's just pop this on. There's a lip there on the top of our coffee pot, so we just want to make sure that we cover that up. So my glue is unfortunately oozing just a little bit. I was a little bit heavy-handed. We'll just pop that to one side now and let dry. And I'm going to pop my lid back on for the moment and let's start putting this together. So I'm just going to start with, usually this is one of the last pieces I do, but I'm going to start with doing this one now because I've got 3 strips of Designer Series paper. One of these at 10 centimetres, which is the same our card insert, by about 1.5 centimetres. Now I just want to layer this a little, and what I thought I would do is layer this one. I'm just going to pop a little thin line of glue across the top there. And layer these pieces together. Don't want to have too big a piece, like just want a little bit of that Calypso coral showing through. And let's get rid of some of that. Hello, Roseanne. How are you? Thank you for joining. And then again, I'm just going to take this piece, pop a little bit of glue across here. Now, of course, you can use your seal to do this because the pieces are wide enough. And I'm just going to make that depth there a little wider. And then once I've got those all together, then we can glue that to the bottom of our card. Spread some of that glue out. It's just a new container of glue, so the glue is quite runny. It hasn't started to thicken. So we're just going to adhere that then on the bottom of our card insert. Now again, I'm just going to set that to one side and let that dry because my glue has a little bit, I haven't quite got it nice and straight, but it's going to do. But my glue is a little bit oozed a bit there because it is the runny glue at the moment. But I will show you a little trick to get rid of those gluey bits once that's dried a bit. So here's our card base. We're just going to fold that in half on that score line. So as I said, it's 29.9. The Australian A4 cardstock. If you're using the letter, American letter, it's 4 1/4 inches by 11, so you would have scored it at 5 1/2. And I'm just going to give that a good burnish with my bone folder, just so that I've got a nice crease on that. Then I've got these two pieces, which is my mat and my designer series. That little bit of Calypso coral underneath there, just to give it a little bit of a lift. So it wasn't, just took a little bit of the blandness off it from being all the same colour. Of course, when you're doing something like that, add whatever colour you wanted. Now I'm noticing my screen is going in and out a little bit, and I'm sorry if you're picking that up on your end. We're just going to pop that on there, give that a good rub. I'm just holding that down quite firmly because that glue is runny. It's amazing. This glue tends to thicken up when you have it, start using it. After a while, it'll start to thicken up a bit, be less runny. And then we're just going to glue that matted DSP onto the front card. And with using the glue, you've got that little bit of time there. Hello, Deborah, how are you? To move everything into place. So there's our card base. Let me have a look at this, see how this is going. Now, you probably can't see, but I've just got a little bit oozed out of there a little bit. It does stay tacky because the multi-purpose glue stays tacky for a while, but I find that if I get a wall, now make sure it's a nice clean rubber. These walls can actually, composition of them can make them go a little bit funny, so just make sure that I'm just rubbing it on the edge there just to make a nice clean, not too much black pencil marks there. And what I'm going to do is just rub this glue where the glue has spilt out and dried, semi-dried, and I'm just going to keep rubbing it. Now you just got to do it very, very gently because it can actually take a little bit of colour out of your DSP. And I'm just pulling the glue away, and it's actually, I don't know whether you can see it, but it's the tip of my finger there. It's just balling up a little bit. So I'm just going to just go in a little bit of a circular and to see if I can get some of that off. Just got to be very, very careful because you don't want to end up with a big gunky mess. I must have got a lot more glue on there than I thought I did, because this is sort of taking a little while to come off. Be careful, because you don't want to take the colour out of your designer series paper. I have done that in the past. Now, there are other rubbers that are specially made to do this sort of thing. If you don't have one of those rubbers on hand, always find these white, a good quality white rubber will do the same trick. I'm actually quite happy with that now that most of that the glue has come off. I have lost a little bit of colour, but as I said, if you just take it very carefully and very gently, it should be right. Excuse me. Haven't had a cold. It has got me. Okay, so quite a bit of glue is coming out of that, so I just want to push that around a little bit. Now, you do have on the back of this, on the bottom of your bottle, another type of tip, and I'm just going to use that just to spread this out a little bit. I don't want sort of big lumps of glue on there, but just got to be careful too, because the reason why you can move that about is the fact that you do have a bit of glue on there. It allows slip, start pushing it out, you've got no slip left. So I've got to make sure that I'm going to get this now on the right one, because I've probably got not much movement. There we go. Excuse me. So there's our card base all ready to go. Can you dab your embossing buddy on it too? Yes, you can. Buddy, if you dab that on there, that will remove a lot of the stickiness. Especially when I've got things like small elements like this where I can't my glue in there, you just grab your bossy buddy. Sometimes it is a bit bossy, my embossing buddy. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, just grab your embossing and just tap the powder over the top. You just might want to come back, because that can sort of take away the, leave a bit of white powder on your work. So you just grab a brush, a paintbrush or a blending brush, and just give that brush down just to remove that. And that will actually, that glue, well, it doesn't cover it up, it just leaves the powder adhered to your glue. So yes, that works really well as well. Hello, Anita, how are you? Thank you for joining. Okay, so let's start by doing. So as I said before, I've got a piece of designer series paper, so let's just bring our template so we all can see what we're doing. So there's our template. This piece here, this darker grey piece underneath here. So I'm just want to glue that down there. Now at this point in time, I'm just going to glue it flat with my liquid glue. Of course, you could use your seal. If you wanted to glue this down, we're just going to glue that straight down on top of that. The only parts that I'm going to be putting dimensionals behind is probably going to be my main element, which is, in this case, is replacing this circle here. Oh, golly, sorry. So then we've got this large circle here that you could also use your any circle die, because we've got quite a few nice dies out there at the moment. I just don't have them all. You've got your deckled edged circle die, but you also have all the lovely decorative ones as well. So you could use any of those to cut this out. It's got to be wider than this piece of DSP here. And mine is actually probably even slightly smaller what they've used or given an example of there. So I could have even gone one size. So I'm just going to adhere that down. This glue is very runny. That's okay. So we're going to pop that on there and just give that a good down. Now you could also, with this paper, use the coffee pot. You could cut out a teacup or stamp and colour a teacup in. I quite like the plunger pot myself. I think they call it a French pot. No, this cough's actually pretty good, Anita. It's yeah, I've just had woke up last weekend with a very, very sore throat. So I'm sort of getting to the end of it, but I'm all clogged up in the head now with yeah, that lovely mucus stuff. Not. So but anyway, we'll keep going. Now, stamp my sentiments. So I think we might do that next. And I forgot. I was actually going to try, before we glued this together. So if you're going to make this card yourself, what I was going to try to do, because normally I would put a piece of, show you, these are the leftovers from a class I had a while. A die that cuts out this little piece here, like that sitting behind the vellum. Well, you can't sit it behind the basic beige, and I just thought it was in behind that anyway, and it looked a bit funny. So I give the illusion that you've got something in your coffee. This is the piece that the stamp, which is this one here, which I usually use in the top of this coffee mug here. It is about the same sort of width as that pot, and what I thought was going to do that on the inside there in the basic beige, so colour on colour, to give the illusion that there was something in that pot, but I forgot to do it. But anyway, if you wanted to give this a try yourself, stamp that, see how it goes, let me know. It'd be good to know because I forgot to do it. Yeah, it is a bit yucky, Anita. The worst thing is actually waking up in the morning. It's I can't breathe because it's all stuck in the top of my my throat, or the back of my throat. So overly pleasant, but I think it's all starting to dry out now, which is good. It's just we've had some very cold nights, frosts for the last 2 mornings. So I'm wondering whether we're going to start thinking, are we going to get snow this year? We have had snow here in the past. We haven't had it for a long time. So anyway, there's our sentiment. Now, of course, using photopolymer, I should have a foam mat underneath it, but I find that the sentiments actually work quite well because it's not a solid image as such. Yeah, I think we're in for a very cold one too, Anita. It's looks like it so far anyway. So and it's early. That's what my thing is. When it's an early winter, we're going to get a cold winter. So let's just bring in our mini cut and emboss. The shapes, I'm going to use thinner of the sentiment pieces, and Now, some people like to cut first and then stamp. I like to stamp first. You can see on this one here, I have it very straight. I'm a little bit crooked, and now I've just got it. So, you know what we do when we smudge something like that? So let's just stamp that on the other side. Pre-stamped. Must have ink there because I've managed to smudge it almost. Struggling tonight. Now I've got ink everywhere all over me. Let's just hope it all dries up so I don't get any more on my work. Okay, let's bring all this. So I like to stamp on this, and I can line this up straight. Now, I want my sentiment as close as possible to the right-hand side of my banner. Okay, more. See if I can bring it in so you can see it. I want it all the way down this end and not up that end. Okay, now I'm going to grab a piece just to hold that down, just to make sure it does. And just let me just turn this around so I can. There we go. So that's on there nice and straight. Let's pop this piece in over the top and we just wind that through. Okay. So did everyone have a lovely weekend last weekend? Did anyone do some stamping on the weekend? I know I didn't even get out of my pajamas on the Sunday. But I didn't go anywhere. My husband went to Sydney and saw our boys, and I stayed home. And I had a lovely time here at home instead. So there's our sentiment, and I've stamped that. And I don't think I said what colour I stamped it in. I've stamped it in Early Espresso because I just wanted something a little bit different to just use black. You made a few cards. Lovely. I couldn't even think on the weekend. I don't think my brain was working. Okay, so let's bring that back in so we can see what we're doing. We've got our two banners. So what I want to do is I'm not going to glue them down as yet, but I do want to sort of work out where this pot's going to go. So let's grab some dimensionals. And pop the dimensionals on the back of this pot. Now, as I said before, I'm going to pop one at the top up there to bring that up so you can see it, just so that it holds the top of that basic beige down on the black. And I'm going to pop another one in the middle and another one at the end. Now, I'm not popping them at the sides because I do want to work out where our banner is going to go. You made some cards, attended. Yeah, wasn't that fun, the OSR? That was really great. I really enjoyed that. One I've ever done, Deborah. But I haven't made anything. I had all these plans of making anything, but all I could do was sit there and watch. It was just all my brain was going to let me do. But it was good. Some lovely, lovely ideas. Those guys did some amazing stuff. Now, in this one here, they've got the wider banner at the bottom, which is the dark banner, and then the smaller one on top. I'm actually going to do this here because this banner here Got to keep remembering to bring it up. This banner here is not as long as this one here. I probably could have used the other one that's in there, a wider, a longer one. But at the time I just used this one. Now I've taken the backs off this, that's why I'm holding it. So I just want where this is going to go and then where this is going to sit underneath. So it's probably going to sit around about there. So I'm going to just push that down. I'm going to pop a little bit of seal on this one, just because the fact that that is very runny, and I'm just going to pop a little bit of seal on the back of that, and then I'm just going to tuck that in underneath and have that banner sort of sticking out, and then that one is going to go in, and I'm going to have to cut those tails off, I think. So that's going to sit there. So let me just grab some scissors, and I'm just going to trim a portion of that off. And I'm going to pop a little bit of seal behind this one as well, because I don't need to have it up on dimensionals. And then that's going to go in there and come past that like there. Probably could have taken this bottom one in a little bit further, but I want to get as much as that centre out there as possible, and I didn't want to take my teapot too far this way. So that's that. So our sentiment. So really that's our card made. The only thing I do want to pop on there is this particular suite comes with these really nice embellishments. I don't know whether you can see them, but they're just in 3 different colours, but then they've just got this little swirl in brown on top of each, and they're just so pretty. Yeah, Bruno's was incredible. He did finish the day off with a bang. But I can't wait to actually have a try in making some of those cards. But I didn't have all the stamp sets anyway. But yeah, it's going to be fun. So I'm actually going to go more into this tone here. And I'm going to pop one of these here. I want to pop another one probably about there, and then my third one just forms that triangle around, and what that does is bring your eye into that sentiment there. So there we go. So as I said, just a very quick one tonight. There's our card. Just a nice little thank you card to give to someone, but you could easily pop in a coffee cup or even the 2 little mini coffee cups if you wanted to instead of that. You could make this with lots of other different DSP, because another one I was thinking of was the Simply Zinnias, and you could have the flower. So there's our piece here. So this part here could have been a flower as well. So just a really simple way to make a fun and simple card. Don't forget too that in your those some card maps in there. Page, let me just grab the catalogue here. It's only not far from the beginning. Page 22. Down the bottom down here, you've got all these designs down here which you could easily follow too. So some really great ways, and it's just a good way if you're sort of not really sure what sort of card you want to make. You can follow a design like this and make up some very simple and quick cards with just a few dies and a few elements. So thank you very much for joining me tonight. Thank you, Deborah. I think I'm on the downhill. I think I'm actually getting better now. So it's just a matter of just clearing out my whole system. Yes, and you will see me on Friday for our next live. Don't know what we're going to do yet, but come up with something fun. Maybe might try a little bit of colouring in of some sort. I'm not quite sure yet what. I've got a few ideas of things that I want to try. So we'll see how we go. But anyway, have a lovely week and take care. I'm going to go now to where it's a little bit warmer and go get my dressing gown on and keep warm. But thank you very much for joining me tonight. I really love having you guys come along and join in with me. So take care. Have a lovely evening and we'll see you on Friday. Bye for now.